I think he don't did them because he really wanted to do. I think Turki Al-Ashi told him you need to do something, and he did. He did.
Same shit that everybody else been saying since I moved to 147. I ain't fought nobody. Every last one of them stump a mud hole in it. He gonna be next. Watch.
Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford aren't just sharing the stage, they're setting it on fire. The intensity hasn't let up since the first verbal volley was fired, until the last frigid glare that led Dana White to intervene.
You know what? I didn't. He did before. He tried to welcome me back, and it just was my reaction. That's it.
Crawford didn't hold back in their latest heated confrontation, saying that come fight night, there would be no more shoving, but straight-up punishment, and then he said it. I'll stomp a mud hole in your ass. That wasn't just trash talk. It was a man announcing war.
So when I beat you, is you gonna be a nobody? When I stump a mud hole in your is you gonna be a nobody? You gonna be just like everybody else. Watch. Watch.
The entire build-up has felt more like a spark blowing than a press tour. Crawford has been laughing off the drama, brushing off Canelo's shove as if nothing happened, but there is a storm building beneath that calm smile. He's not come to shake hands, but to make history.
Listen, that wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that little push didn't do nothing, as you can see. But come fight time, we're not going to be pushing, we're going to be punching. So it doesn't even matter.
Bomac Terence Crawford's longtime trainer spoke strongly about how the early rounds of his fight with Canelo Alvarez would play out. Bomac did not sugarcoat the dangers of facing someone as seasoned and powerful as Canelo. He admitted that the first round may be hard, a test of time, distance, and feel.
It's gonna play out, man. You know, like I always say, it's gonna be a tough few rounds, you know, until Terence makes his adjustments, and then, like he does every fight, he's gonna take it over and run away with it.
However, he made it clear that Crawford follows a definite and established pattern, which is the key to his success. Bomac stated that once Crawford makes his readings, changes to the opponent's rhythm, and unlocks their game, the fight quickly turns into his favor. This was not hype. It was a sober prediction from a trainer who has seen Crawford handle every puzzle thrown before him.
The longer they let Terence grow, the worse off they're gonna be. So that's how I look at it, like that. You just look at it, a big dude.
Yeah, no, you look pretty filled out, pretty solid.
And strong.
Meanwhile, Canelo has made it just as personal, mentioning his fight with Billy Joe Saunders. He says Crawford started the same fire, and as it burns, Canelo transforms into a different kind of beast in the ring.
Question for Bud Crawford. You know, a lot of MMA fans, UFC fans, may not have ever seen you fight before, and they might tune in because Dana and the UFC are involved. So what has it been like maybe introducing yourself to a lot of MMA?
People and naysayers have jumped in. Jake Paul, ever the controversial figure, weighs in on the Canelo versus Crawford debate and criticizes the fight's marketing. As we all know, Paul has a propensity for blending combat with theatrics. In this case, he freely blamed what he sees as a mismatch between promotion and reality.
I think it's corny, to be honest. You know, I tweeted, imagine if Ronaldo and Messi had dinner together before the World Cup. That's just not how real competitors. You think Michael Jordan was doing that type of shit? So I think it's corny, and I would never engage in any of those activities.
The war has barely started, and Canelo Alvarez has made it apparent that he no longer respects Terence Crawford. The Mexican star claims Crawford's recent acts at the press conference were not just windy, but also personal. Crawford's attitude, especially his statement that he was not interested in matching anyone's expectations, affected me the most.
A little bit more personal because, you know, I did respect him. I don't respect him anymore because he say, I'm not gonna do what they want me to do and this and that. And then he tried to, maybe Turki Al-Ashi told him, hey, you need to do something because you seem so nervous in Riyadh. So and he tried to like walk me back, and that's why I pushed him. And like I say, don't f with me.
Does it bring a different Canelo then?
Yeah, it's different.
Canelo made a similar claim during the news conference, boldly saying in front of the media and boxing staff that the turmoil in the previous fight could have been caused by Turkey telling Crawford to walk him down. Crawford swore that if he messed with him, his career would be over.
I didn't touch him.
You know.
Listen.
Hey, we know, buddy.
First and foremost.
Before I respect his word because he say, "Oh, I'm not gonna let somebody to tell me what I need to do," and he did. So, but you know me. I respect everybody, but if you with me, so it's gonna be different.
Terence Crawford's decision to fight Canelo Alvarez at his weight class is not only audacious, but also defiant, daring, and historically important. Crawford has decided to face history head-on in a sport when most competitors prefer to take calculated risks and avoid danger. He is already the only man in the four-belt period to be undefeated into different divisions, and he wants to add a third against one of this generation's most decorated champions. The biggest stars in boxing, including Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, have taken offense to this move. When asked who he preferred, Hopkins, famed for both his harsh ring IQ and his cool-headedness under pressure, didn't hesitate. Crawford had an 85% chance of winning, he said.
He has a legitimate chance. Over 60% for his mind. If you say, Bernard, give me a number.
Give me a number.
He has an 85+ chance to beat.
He gave Crawford an incredible 85% chance of victory, leading many to take note and raise their eyebrows. Hopkins wasn't using statistics to make his case, but he saw in Crawford a deeper quality. Few people can resist hardship without failing. According to Hopkins, Crawford's objective should be clear and internal, rather than impressing or appeasing adversaries. Enter the ring with the strong belief that nothing Canelo throws will shatter him. He must not give up, no matter how painful, heavy, or time-consuming.
He's not going in there to prove something, which will fall into Canelo's hand. He would love for him to prove something. That means you will stay there and try to prove something. But to go in there and to let him know, establish that from the first round, that I belong without showing that I am tough. I earned my position to be here. And I want to show you, even though you're being stubborn, that your time not only have came, but it's going.
There are plenty of voices in this build-up. Teddy Atlas makes a clear statement without hesitation or filter. He is riding with Crawford to handle everything. Forget civility. Atlas is not criticizing Canelo's legacy, but it is clear that he wants Crawford to depose the king.
I'm taking Crawford. He'll handle it all. That's it. I am. I'm not in any way trying to shortcome the tremendous fighter named Canelo. I like Canelo a lot, but I like Crawford more. I like Crawford, and I liked him before Canelo didn't look great in his last fight against Skull. I liked him when the fight was first made 2 years ago, or talked about 2 years ago, or close to 2 years ago.
Even Crawford, who is well aware of his opponent, is not giving up, saying, "Yeah, he's definitely heavier than me. But I have my tools that are better than his as well, so it's going to be a great fight." Amir Khan, who has fought Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, discussed their impending fight. He stated it's a difficult matchup to anticipate since, while Canelo is usually the physically larger fighter, Crawford didn't feel much smaller when Khan faced him.
It's a hard fight to call Canelo Crawford because, Crawford is a big guy as well. I mean, I normally would say Canelo because he's a bigger guy, but and normally he's bigger than his opponents and he puts on the weight well. And when I fought him, he was much heavier. And
Khan stated that Canelo rehydrates and enters the ring more heavier than Crawford did when they fought. Nonetheless, despite Crawford matching Canelo in bulk during their two bouts, Khan noticed a significant difference in hitting power. He stated that Canelo's power seemed much more dangerous and described it as something beyond normal. suggesting that Canelo's strength could play a significant role in the fight.
But then again, when I fought against Crawford, Crawford was as big as Canelo. But I just don't feel that Crawford hits as hard as Canelo. Canelo hits very hard. I mean, his power is, you know what I mean? His power is like unreal.
Amir Khan, speaking with TalkSport Boxing, recognized Crawford's excellent power but claimed it is not the same as Canelo's knockout force. Khan stated that Crawford has looked sharp in recent performances, despite the fact that both fighters are currently in their late stages of careers. Khan thinks the contest is still really close.
With Crawford's got power, don't get me wrong, Crawford's got amazing power, but the thing is that it's not that knockout power that Canelo has. Now, you have to understand, I fought Canelo 10 years ago or so. Now, is that the same Canelo that is out there now? But a lot of people saying Canelo's maybe past his best. Crawford's come off some good wins, looking really good, but still the age is very similar. Both guys are getting on towards the end of their career. I think it's evenly matched, but I do lean more towards Canelo in this one, even though Crawford's a very close friend of mine and helped me in my training camp for my last fight. But it's a hard fight to call because both fighters are at the top of the game. I think it's something that boxing's not seen for a very, very long time, where you've got two fighters. It's hard to say who's going to win. It is a 50-50 fight. Is it skill or power that's going to win, or is it skill or speed that's going to win the fight? We don't know, so let's...
Canelo has those dimensions, but Crawford is worried because he possesses the necessary attributes, speed, and mentality. He joins this fight to win, not just to live. This is a view based on skill, not bravado. Although Crawford knows Canelo's talent, he bets that he will be greater, and if he is right, a new era will begin. Even voices in the boxing community are starting to echo the same energy, indicating that Teddy and Crawford are not the only ones expressing it. On the Porteray podcast, Anthony Andre Berto couldn't suppress his admiration for Crawford's successes.
That it's going to be a great fight, and two of the best are fighting the best. I mean, my opinion, I mean, I think you can put Crawford in any position, and man, for some way he knows how to figure it out to get out of that position. I mean, he's man, and he got that dog in him.
Dimensions Canelo has that. Yes, Crawford is unfazed because he possesses the necessary pace and attitude. He tackles this conflict with the purpose of winning, not just surviving. This is an opinion based on ability, not bravado. Crawford respects Canelo's efforts, but he is betting on them. Frank Martin discussed the many methods Terence Crawford and William Skull might take in their fight with Canelo Alvarez. Skull took more evasive tactics following Canelo's last bout, which Martin viewed as a case of going too far. Martin, on the other hand, does not think Crawford will take that approach defensively. He's a bigger man, but it doesn't mean anything. Those folks are usually slower. You know, when a smaller guy approaches a heavier weight, you can't get hit by the bigger guy, especially if he's a puncher, but a smaller guy often has an edge. I believe that when the fire around Canelo Alvarez burns hotter, old ghosts from his past emerge with new flames. Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated legend who once taught a young Canelo under the bright lights of Las Vegas, is back in the spotlight, this time not with gloves, but with words sharp enough to cut through the nose. Mayweather's confidence is not new, but it is more powerful now. In the middle of one of Canelo's most intense build-ups, the timing is intentional. You could take a guy like Canelo, who can pick and choose who he wants to face. And I'm going to tell you the truth about him. Easy man can walk easy, y'all. Sitting up here y'all praising this dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude easy, y'all always disrespecting our fighters, but Floyd isn't the only voice feeding that fire. Add to that the insight of Oscar de la Hoya, other former great who's watched both men rise from different corners of the boxing universe. De la Hoya has never shied away from critique, and his take was layered. He praised.
Or we'll see, you know, Canelo just annihilate him because of the weight. You have to remember that that Crawford is a 47-pounder or 54-pounder coming, and Canelo has fought at, he's probably weighed 200 pounds in the ring at one point. So, and it makes a huge difference, guys. 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds makes a huge difference. So, especially at the elite level. So I think it's a great fight.
But De La Hoya also recognized the reality of the weight in his eyes. Size isn't just a stat on the tail of the tape, it's a weapon. Canelo, who is filled out nicely at 168 pounds, brings a power and physicality that Crawford hasn't faced before. De La Hoya didn't sugarcoat it. He made it clear that even with all of Crawford's tools, the weight gap could be the storm that derails the challenger's plans. I don't know about comparing it to his situation, but it will be a situation where I'll be talked about for many decades to come and definitely go down in the history books as one of the best fighters to ever lace up the gloves. Still, Terence Crawford isn't flinching as questions about size swirl around him like a storm. Crawford stands in the calm. He doesn't talk loudly, but when he speaks, it hits. He's heard it all before. He's too small. He's outmatched. He won't last. Yet here he is, climbing yet another weight class with the same quiet fire. For Crawford, this isn't reckless, it's ritual, a career built on defined logic and rewriting bounds. No, not really. I'm strong, you know, and, come fight night, I think people would be surprised, and, you know, seeing how strong that I really am. I think that a lot of people are, you know, thinking the size advantage. You know, Canelo is a strong fighter in himself, and he's a good puncher, but so am I, and fight night is going to be a good time. Bradley, past champion and now one of the sport's sharpest analysts, has thrown his weight behind Crawford without blinking, with the kind of conviction you don't hear often. Bradley stated that Canelo won't be able to stop Crawford not by knockout, not by pressure, not by size, in his view, but has too much skill, too much grit, and too much timing. According to Bradley, Canelo is about to meet his match, not just physically, but mentally in the ring.
You really think that he's gonna knock out Crawford? I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him in the win.
I feel like more than anything, he has a mental edge over Canelo.
You could possibly say that.
Yeah.
Possibly say that. You know, has he lost yet?
No.
You see Canelo go down the stretch and second guess himself sometimes. There it is, right there, though.
Bomac talked about physical readiness. He pointed out how crucial it is to prepare mentally, strategically, and nutritionally for Bomac. The goal is to ensure that Crawford is not just in shape, but firing on all cylinders. I fight night. His approach reflected total confidence. If every detail is dialed in, then even a fighter like Canelo becomes a manageable challenge. He said, we know the type of fighter Canelo is, though as a fighter, you mentally prepare for things like that. Then as a trainer, just making sure he's sharp. His mental game is sharp. His physical game is sharp. Strength-wise, diet, everything got to, like I said, be hitting on all cylinders. So by the time you step in that ring, it's easy picking. Bomac thought about Terence Crawford's unique mental toughness, especially when facing an experienced opponent like Canelo Alvarez. He emphasized that Crawford has an unwavering mentality, one in which self-belief permeates every part of his life. Bomac suggested that this inner confidence might be an advantage in this matchup, so you can't say that there's, you know, from the front of his head to the back of his head, in between, this see him winning. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to win. That's the difference. That's the difference despite Canelo's clear experience. Bomac referred to times in the past when he hesitated in the closing rounds. Crawford, on the other hand, unquestionably, has a major edge due to his history of maintaining mental focus. These days it's more about who falters first under great pressure than it is about skill, so you feel like more than anything he has a mental edge over Canelo. You could probably say that, you know, has he lost yet? Have you seen Canelo goes down the stretch and second guesses himself sometimes? There it is right there, though, and there you have it. The countdown is nearly over, and the fire is spreading quickly. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are chasing legacy rather than just titles. The boxing world has been rocked by the thunderclap that has been every quote face-off and round of this build-up. Crawford's confidence is unshaken, Canelo's pride is on the line, and the closer we get, the louder the stakes roar. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and drop your guesses in the comments. Will Crawford carve his name into the record books again, or will Canelo tell the world why he's the face of boxing? Let us know, because the fight of the decade is upon.